Rain lashed Parisian pavement, gathering around my shoes, painting the city in cold streaks of rejection. I hovered outside La Galerie Savigny, watching my reflection waver behind rippling glass. Inside, golden light promised belonging I didn't have. My pastries, the gleaming yuzu-glazed eclairs stacked in careful rows, the millefeuilles with their tender, crisp layers, sat ignored on a side table, perfect and unnoticed. The curator's last words burned as acid in my ears. "We're looking for something with meaning, Camille, not desserts." Polite but final, I turned away, rain hitting my face, walking quickly to outrun the sting in my eyes. Laughter from inside the gallery pressed into my back, mingling with the patter of raindrops. I carried more than trays. I carried the ache in my hands, the raw dough still beneath my fingernails, the burns on my wrists that marked every hour I'd spent at the stove. Paris, the city of dreams, felt like locked doors that night. The street lamps carved silver threads through rain, the world shrinking between the white throb of hunger and failure. I pressed my palm to the cold wall outside the gallery, breath shuddering, determined not to let anger spill out in hot, useless tears. At home, my mother's voice met me before the threshold. She was framed in the doorway, arms crossed, concern heavy in her voice, "Two renters, Deja." I stammered with my shoes, slipping them off, hiding the evidence of shaking hands. She peered at me, judgment and worry mingled in her eyes. "I thought your gallery people would be raving," she said quietly, "or was it like last time?" My father sat at the table, drumming his fingers with the casual air of someone turning from disappointment. "You know, Camille, there's still time to get a real job, no shame in insurance." He tried to soften it with a joke, but the punch landed. I burned with words. Food is a language, technique a poem, flavor an argument, but they hung unspoken. At dinner, Mathilda scrolled her phone, glancing up with a sigh. "Did they even eat your pastries this time?" she asked, half grinning, half serious. I said nothing, letting silence answer for me. My father, palm down, signaled for calm at the first sign of protest from me. "We work hard in this family," he grumbled. "That's what counts, not sugar sculptures and pastry dreams." I looked at my hands, the scars of work, the taste of striving that never made it to their plates. Rage prickled under my skin, tempered by the quiet calm I knew only in the kitchen. I forced down dinner, the taste dull, the mood thicker than the rain. In my small bedroom, city lights blinked through the curtains. I buried my rejection letter in a trunk and turned to my notebook, scribbling a recipe: spiced pear tart with pistachio frangipane, mirror glaze shining over careful lines. My hopes fluttered just strong enough to keep me upright while the city laughed, while my family doubted. Sometimes I wondered if they were right, if this was just a card castle, a story fit for collapse. But as I traced lines of flavor on paper, my hands remembered the rhythm, and I kept going, new ganache ratios, sketches for eclairs like pillars. No applause, no reassurance, just the drive to prove them all wrong. I skipped from temp job to temp job. My first, a tourist cafe near Rue Cleur, served microwaved croissants to Americans. My suggestion of a new tart earned me a smirk and a shake of the head. Next, I landed in a bakery run by Pierre, constantly sweating and muttering at the ovens. "Bread, he trusted me with, never pastries. You are too wild with your flavors, Camille, curry in a macaron." "People want tradition, not," he waved his hand dismissively. I pressed dough, found comfort in repetition, but my hands itched to invent. Every spark was squashed by suspicion or laughter from colleagues. Ideas folded up tight like dough for millefeuilles, waiting for the right layers of heat to give them rise. Sunday dinners became a gauntlet. My cousin Baptiste, flush with engineering money, patted me on the back. "At least you can eat your mistakes." My father would laugh and shake his head. Their doubts twisted tight around me, binding but spurring me onward. Each evening I lingered outside Seraphine's, nose to the glass, watching customers fawn over pastries. I ached to see my own in their place, to belong. My anger turned to hard focus. No more hoping for praise. I baked through the nights, measured, tasted, started again. The kitchen became mine, every improvement a secret promise to myself. Winter brought Pierre's panic. A magazine wanted a Christmas feature, something original. He surrendered reluctantly. "Show me what you do," he grunted, sweat beading on his brow. I put everything out. A chocolate tart with black cardamom, financiers dripping with blood orange, a ginger lime chew bun, a towering gingerbread entremet dusted in spun sugar. He chose only the entremet, grumbling as he agreed. The review loved his bakery. His photo dominated the spread, my name a tiny footnote. When I showed my father, he nodded. "That's nice, but remember it's their bakery, not yours." I swallowed the frustration, kept baking, tucking the magazine editor's handwritten note, Magnifique Pastry Camille, into my book as secret gold. The years blurred, saving, skimping, working endless hours, my chef's knife worn to a nub. Each slight, every snub became fuel. By my 29th birthday, I'd filled stacks of notebooks, recipes scrawled along the edges. Finally, I found it, a 4-meter shop off Rue de Sèvres, rent barely doable, the old marble worn smooth by generations before me. The landlord, an Armenian with tired eyes, nodded at my references. Pay on time. The place is yours. Opening day, I baked through the night. Honey sesame tarts, pistachio basil chew, carrot cardamom cake, eclairs with lime and kaffir. I scrubbed floors, set up the window, and waited. That morning, nothing. But by twilight, a tourist and 2 neighbors wandered in buying tarts, eyes full of curiosity. The next day, a law clerk, then someone remembering me from that magazine piece. "You're Camille, aren't you?" she said, savoring a financier. The quartier slowly took notice. At first it was mothers and children, a skeptical pastry chef from up the street. I worked wordlessly, grateful with each sale, each question. Mathilda came one evening, guilt and curiosity plain. She eyed the chipped counters and crooked shelves. "Cute, are you going to give lessons now?" she smirked, then polished off 3 financiers, tucking leftovers in her bag. Each night I tallied receipts, scraped flour from my arms. Calls from home never asked for details, just if I was eating, if the walls still held. My mother's voice circled the questions she wanted to ask. I let her wonder. There was too much to do. 6 months slipped by. A food blogger snapped a picture of my pistachio basil chew, raving online. Suddenly there was a line at the door, students, chefs, socialites. My pastries sold out by noon every day. "Unreal," a woman cried, holding up a half-eaten tart. Even a Michelin chef, Marie, tasted and smiled. "Your flavors are poetry," she declared. For once the praise didn't sting, it shimmered. Within days, local critics and influencers were crowding my battered marble for the perfect photo. Patisserie cams started trending, strangers recognized me on the metro, and my landlord joked about charging rent for the queue. Every closing shift left me exhausted, but the exhaustion was sweet. The anger that once fueled me was still there, but now layered with joy and a strange, deep calm. I moved into the cramped room above the shop, waking in the dark to the smell of yeast. I hired Estelle, a shy apprentice. Side by side, we danced around each other in close quarters, marshalling dough and dreams. Press came calling, food tour added my name, children pressed their faces to my glass window, whispering orders. Praise didn't erase those years of doubt, but it built something solid and lasting, a place that could carry my vision unmocked. One morning an invitation came, thick card, red wax seal. The Paris Culinary Expo wanted me, featured center stage at the Grand Palais. I scanned the list, chefs, press, critics, even the old gallery curators. Nerves and excitement tangled as I baked for days, perfecting every glaze, every crumb. I mailed 3 tickets to my parents and Mathilda, unsure if they'd come. The Grand Palais overflowed with marble and light, voices echoing under the vaulted glass. I readied my table, chocolate mousse just on the bitter edge, glistening yuzu glaze, the signature tart crowned in gold leaf. I lined my chew with trembling hands. Just before the doors opened, I spotted my parents and Mathilda at the edge, my father stiff in a suit, mother holding tight to his hand, Mathilda suspicious and silent. At 10 the crowd surged in, the room roiling with laughter, questions, scrutiny. Judges followed. A stern man, hair silvered, eyed my lime eclair, cracked it open, tasted. My chest clenched with old fear. He cleared his throat. "Sublime," he announced, voice carrying. 30 years, never tasted this. Around me applause. A journalist snapped photos, an American critic held up 4 financiers, a Japanese chef asked for my recipe. Then the curator from the gallery stepped up, older now, beard streaked grey. He regarded me quietly. "Your eclairs were ahead of us," he said, voice only loud enough for me to hear. "We were blind then," and he nodded just enough for me to feel the honesty. Cameras flashed. My chest ached with relief and disbelief. My mother, eyes streaming, clung to my father. Mathilda covered her mouth in astonishment. At the press conference, a Le Monde reporter held up my tart. "Camille, what do you say to those who called your dreams foolish?" I hesitated, then found truth in the moment. I say flavor is a kind of love. And love deserves belief. The words sounded strong, clear. Old anger shone now as calm, hard-won joy. After the event, my family wove through the crowd, joining me finally at my table. My father took my hand, voice tight. "I was wrong, Cam. You made something real." Mathilda wrapped me in a hug, shaking her head. In that instant, I felt the circle close, not an ending but a moment of peace. The world shifted into acceptance. That night under clear sky, I walked home along the Seine. My phone buzzed with congratulations, requests, praise. I silenced it, choosing the cool air, the shimmer of new possibility over the water. At the familiar corner bistro, old Pierre beckoned from his usual seat, his smile sly. "I taught you well, non, you did more with it than I ever could." "Merci, Pierre," I answered, all warmth. "For letting me start, even if you couldn't see what I did." He grinned, the hurt had faded. Back at my bakery, golden lamplight spilled over the marble, glinting on a single tart. I ate it quietly, savoring every layer, the taste of cold rain and doubt, the dark nights, the discipline, the first applause. I tasted anger transformed and a deep serenity at the heart of it all. Paris kept her secrets, cool and bright, beautiful but hard won. My family changed, stood with me in the kitchen's warmth. The doubters had seen proof. My hands, once mocked, now steady, had built something lasting. Success was not revenge, it was peace, quiet after the oven's cool, the hum of yeast, and my place, at last, secured at the table.